you're probably wondering how you can relate. Today, I'm going to be talking about 3 things that I struggle with and how it's going to be all okay, even though it feels like it won't. The first one on today's list is not feeling like you've done enough or thinking you aren't enough. Before I even showed my art to anybody, I felt like it wasn't good enough. Looking back at it, it all was just a process for me to be where I am now. So through the first year of constantly painting, I had struggled with wanting to show anybody my art. I struggle with anxiety, depression, and OCD because I am a germaphobe and I'm trying my best not to be anymore. Anyways, I struggled accepting that I couldn't be an artist, even though I knew what I was painting or what I was doing was awesome and beautiful. What I'm doing right now is just laying some blobs of white paint so that when I spread over different other colors, we'll get this cloud-like type of feel. So how I struggled with that and thinking I was enough or finding out that I was enough was, one, I found a therapist to help me ground myself every single week on what I was doing and how what I was doing was right. That luxury is not available to everybody, but what I ended up doing was to constantly affirm that I was. I know that sounds so simple and so plain, like why am I even saying that? But accepting justification that you are enough from somebody else isn't enough. It's not enough. It will never satisfy you. The only person that could ever satisfy who you are is your own self. You stick with yourself every single day. So struggling to think that you're enough is a constant battle that you yourself are only fighting. And of course it's nice to feel that and hear from people that what you're doing is enough, but it will never be enough if you don't accept it your own self. What you're doing and what you're creating is all just a process of what you will become, or just a justification of who you are and how you're processing through things. I think I've took a bit of the wrong approach to what I was trying to do, but we worked through that. So if you're feeling like your art isn't enough to show anybody, believe that your perspective is so unique, and who you are and how you've grown up and what struggles you've gone through in your life are all yours. And that in itself is a story that people would love to hear. And that's why I stand in front of this camera today, to be able to help people believe that they are enough, that their story is unique, and no one can go through the same struggles that you've gone through and how you've evolved as your own person. So when that reflects into your own art, no one else can be able to take that. I don't normally paint backgrounds like this. This is just a way for me to figure out how to connect with you guys and talk about it. Hello, Mom. To get to this point of how I'm painting now wasn't overnight. Painting this, I don't even know if it'll be enough, but I know what I'm doing and what I see is enough. And so I don't need to justify if this painting will be good for anybody else except myself. I like how we're kind of creating this look of a square. My brain is kind of seeing that, so I'm going to this one out a little bit more. That was too much. We're just gonna brush that out, and I'll take that. The next one is a constant thought. Every single day, it's a battle before I even come up to this easel and paint. And that is thinking that this is all for nothing. By the way, This is our reference for today of what we're going to be painting. We're going to paint just a huge flower, and it could be for nothing. It could be for nothing. It could just be not that great, but I don't know. And we won't find out until we get there. Isn't that the worst feeling? Thinking that it's all for nothing. It never is for nothing. It's always for something. It's always for something. So, thinking that it's all for nothing, I thought about that every single day. And one day, my significant other threw over an alley-oop to me that I was some artist to this business owner. And her name was Rachel. Shout out to Aya over in Philly. I didn't show my art to really anybody else, and that day was when I first had done it. I showed Rachel. She really loved and believed in my work, and she said to submit and apply to become a vendor at the art market, and that they would take me. I painted for a whole year, not showing anybody what I painted. And for the first time I showed my art to somebody, it made a move. So shout out to Noelle, shout out to Rachel and Val, shout out to the next step I'm going to be telling you, which is super exciting, absolutely. And if you don't know, then you don't know, but you will know in just a bit. Let's stop talking and start doing. I'm gonna make that the middle point. Beautiful, beautiful. When I finally made it to the art market in December, it was freezing cold. I had to set up in this tight corner, which I did it to myself. I could have pulled myself out of the corner a little bit more. And it went from showing my art to only one person to hundreds of people. They were waiting in line to just even get into the store. If you could imagine, to finally show and feel confident that you are an artist or you are this creative, how scary that was. That was insane. People loved to see what I had painted. Whether you're showing your art to people or you're not showing your art to people, it is something. It will mean something. And it will mean something more to you as an artist, as a creative, to understand that for your own self first, that it means something. I want this petal to be over that petal, so we'll paint that brush stroke again. These petals to be under that petal. For the longest time, I believed my art was going to be nothing. One of my first therapists, she would be able to remind me, artists back then, and still to this day, didn't just blow up in a matter of days. It took years of constant painting and mastering the craft of what they're doing. Today, it is a bit easier to become, something because of social media and being able to post everything everywhere. And yeah, there is some paths that can lead you to that type of success quickly. However, it's not a sprint, but a marathon. And we'll make it just a bit thicker. Once you feel as though your art is something and you throw it into the world and it has no response, that isn't a result that you should be able to base off of success, because your art is something fresh to many people. So finding that audience that would like the type of creative things that you do will take a long time. This one will have it again, just like how it is in here. By the way, I haven't really painted closely to what I'm doing now, in big forms or a flower or something that, I really love to do in 4 or 5 months. And my objective to be able to paint this right now It's not to make it look perfect. Like again, this can mean nothing. I'm just painting and processing my own self, how I feel. The first reason I started to paint was actually to process my struggle with depression as I first started to take my medication, which is very scary. Very scary. Just don't know what will happen or what will come out of it. I'll go even a bit darker. Maybe I shouldn't have painted such a big image. Oh, this is a good example of why I didn't think anything was enough. When I first started to paint, I painted just random things. And it brought me to how I started to paint now. When I made it to this art market, I didn't think that they were enough to sell. I just felt like it wasn't the quality I was trying to strive for to be able to show. However, Noelle, my partner, thought differently. She believed that I should show my art, even though it might be old, even though it might not respond well to people, to show it. So I was wrong. They were something. They were something to people. This is even adding on to the whole topic of thinking, you're doing this for nothing. Your art might not feel like it's nothing to you, even though you've created it and even though you've had this big idea about it. And in the end, it might not mean anything to you. However, to people, it could be everything. It could be absolutely everything. That was a different feeling I could even explain. After the art market, I got connected through all these other wonderful people. Well, first shout out PJ, who was able to take my photos. So the next day, we're in the studio and we're taking photos. PJ connected me with this wonderful person named Sydney, who is a part of this initiative in Philly that's so awesome and beautiful, called the Maker Stable. The Maker Stable consists of Sydney and Alex. So Sydney and I hop on a call and we just start chopping up what it is we can do together as creatives in building the creativity in Philadelphia. She talked about this one thing at the art museum, wink wink, into this thing called Artish. So she just plugs my name into what I guess is for people to judge who is going to be making it. And like a month or so goes by. One, I get to be a part of Maker's Table for an event that was wonderful and beautiful. And at this event, met with many creatives. Soon enough, I get contacted by the Philadelphia Art Museum asking if they would like to have a phone call meeting and talk about Artish. Needless to say, the person interviewing me loved my art so much from my website, and my website only has 6 art pieces that I only display. She loved my paintings so much, she wanted me to be one of the people at the event. That was a crazy time. And more than ever, I had to actually believe that my art was enough. It means something. This is where we might just struggle a little bit on how things are looking, but I am trying to speed things up because my camera could die. Your art means something to people. And to put into perspective how crazy of a next step this was for my art career, there were about 3,000 people that night. I got to be able to paint at the museum as well while I was selling my art. So I painted at the museum, which is crazy. I'll put on some footage. I was literally running around looking at the paintings that I look at every single time I visited the museum, just to be there, just to have my art be at the museum and for me to paint around all these other master masters that I look up to, it gives me chills thinking about it, was surreal. Sometimes, I know this might be a weird thing to say, sometimes I even imagine Van Gogh or Monet not even saying anything, just nodding at understanding that, damn, that's art. That is art right there. At one point, I went to the museum every single weekend just to look at what made them them, right? How can I learn from that? I'm not painting fast enough. It means something, or your art really does mean something. It's so hard to see that right now, but it means something. You have to believe in yourself. At that event, I was only showing stuff I wanted to sell, but I also put onto display like things I made. I didn't make a price for at that time. And one of them was my portrait, very abstract portrait. I'll pop it up. It's my profile picture on YouTube. Somebody was vetting themselves. Somebody from New York was vetting themselves basically to purchase my portrait. I didn't even have a price for it. I didn't even want to let go of it. But this person loved it so much, and I felt as though he was a great fit to sell it to. That art piece meant something to this person that wanted to buy it. I know I might be just hitting at this one too much, but it means something. Your art does mean something. Today we're just gonna make the flower, no stem, just no time. And that's how you know I'm going slow. That sun is hitting the top of that painting now. Oops. You know, I'm just going to outline some of these and the next part that I struggle with is burnout. I'm telling you guys all this cool success that I had made within a certain amount of time, but boy, I burnt out. I burnt out hardcore. After Aya Market, I got severely depressed because this thought of what do I do next? After I worked so hard for days, for maybe, consider it even months to get to this art market and make sure that I was prepared, it was done. For about 3-4 months, even to this day, the art market was December, by the way, December of 2024, and now we're in May 26th. I had gotten so depressed that I didn't do anything for a whole entire week. The whole entire week that I had off from work, I doom scrolled. I burned out. Now we're just exaggerating some of the movement it's making. I also exaggerate. And then the Philadelphia Museum, I was burnt out all the way to that until then. And that was in March. Didn't want to do anything. I didn't even paint. Maybe, and part of that could have been the reason that my health insurance was so bad. So bad. I got afraid to even see a therapist anymore because of how much I would have to pay. That sucked. It still sucks. As much as I'd like to keep other people grounded, it was nice to have someone ground me as well. You're not meant to constantly be in this spotlight. We were never bred to work for so long. I mean, even being kids, we get summer. You had summer to look forward to. That's when you just took long breaks. Growing up now, me being 27, I wasn't built to do that. I'm not built to paint all the time, and I feel so pressured. And one of the biggest reasons why I got burnt out is feeling this pressure that I'm not doing enough compared to all these people I see on social media. They're not you. I really love this painting right now. Burnout is also just a great way to recharge. Maybe not where we are in this state of the world. But it's a way to recharge and also just gain new inspiration, gain new inspo. So burning out is okay. You'll find something to get yourself out of it. It might take days, it might take weeks, it may take months. In my case, it's still going on. I'm burnt out. However, I feel like this is such a good time to be able to do something. So that's why I'm painting and I'm talking to you guys. And for those that don't get burnt out, nice job. Keep at it. I'm jealous. But for those that seem to have the same struggle as me, it's okay. Perfectly fine to be burnt out. I should have also started with, how can burnout look? Burnout can look in many different ways. You just not doing something, or you falling into something else for a portion amount of your time, or anything, really. Find yourself deep into work. There's so many reasons as to, what your burnout can look like. Mine was literally chilling and doing nothing for like the longest time. We're adding in highlights. Burnout will happen, and it's going to look differently for everyone. And it's okay. It's a time for you to recharge, even if it's taking super duper long to come back. This is me talking to you, coming out of a burnout. All these struggles I went through to get to this point. I'm coming out of my burnout. It's okay to burn out. And I have new ideas. It's not the same one that I used to have, which is painting with a big vase. I feel as though painting this big flower, people would love. I love it. It's first for me. We just even had like the craziest freaking highlight, which is that spot. Well, I had so many other highlights, right? We'll just dab the paint. I'll call that for a day. Maybe we'll come back to this painting, maybe we won't. But those are 3 things that I constantly struggle with as an artist. And if you can relate, I would love to hear how you guys can relate in the comments below. Also, I forgot that this is very bright, so I have to kind of just change things. This is where we ended up at for today.